Ladies and gentlemen, have you acquired a new puppy in your life?
We have. Does your new puppy need a new place to sleep?
Ours did.
Indeed. And do you have an affinity for mid-century modern decor?
She does.
Yes, and that's why we built
The
the
mid-century modern dog bed for our little Roadie.
Yes. I'm Jay-Z,
I'm Daniel.
and this is Roadie, and this?
It's just my DIY.
Yes, it is. Today we're going to show you how we built this mid-century modern dog bed, complete with a custom mattress. We actually built this to fit a mattress we already had, but more on why that changed later.
Once you have your safety net established, you go ahead and start by making your walls, 2 walls, and the back piece.
You'll see that Daniel uses multiple passes on the miter saw, and that's to avoid tear out in the wood.
We're using poplar for the sides. It makes a nice paintable hardwood, and we have plenty of it spare from other projects. But when we move on to the floorboard, you'll see that we're actually going to use a section of plywood.
Here he's cutting the 45s to make sure that everything meets at a nice 90-degree angle.
We needed to use a guide and a circular saw to cut the floorboard's first cut. But then we're going to move along to using a miter chop saw again to cut the board to the correct length, again using multiple passes to avoid tear out.
And once we had the floorboard cut, we wanted to add a piece of banding in order to cover the edges of the plywood in this project.
So a nice little piece of poplar goes in place, and then
Sanding everything a lot.
some of the wood was a bit rough, and even though this is a project for a puppy, we didn't want rough wood.
Moving on to the glue up, we're using a tried and true method of using painter's tape to hold the boards in position as we start gluing them together. We did take a couple of tries at each side just to ensure that everything was perfectly aligned before we started adding the glue.
And then we add the glue.
Yep. Small strips, spread it out with your fingers, and then pull it up.
The baseboard is not actually in there to be adhered right now, but to set the guides for when we nail the sides together for the tacking for the glue to set.
Then we add some glue to the bottom board,
And nail it.
as we like to do. Then it was just attaching the banding using the same method. Once everything was in place, we moved on to painting. You'll probably notice this aqua color that I use quite a bit. It's actually in every room in the house and kind of helps tie all the decor together. Starting with the corners on the inside, I'm using a sponge brush because that really helps us get into those corners nice and clean, and then of course a roller to speed everything up. And be sure everything gets good 2 coats. Don't forget to paint your legs as well. And then since I put the legs on wrong the first time, it was Daniel to the rescue with math.
We needed to turn the legs to face 45 to the walls, so first started by drawing a 45 line using a speed square, marked what would be 3 inches out using the actual measured square, and then again turned it another 90 degrees to that so that we knew our exact placing of the legs, and that would be facing 45 degrees to the corners. And then of course I just set them in place, pre-drilled, and then really drilled it with screws. Once your brackets are in place, add legs and tilt feet. Try and match the angle so it lays flat on the floor when you set it down, like that.
Okay, Daniel, so I got some good news and bad news.
Okay, Jay-Z, what is the good news?
The good news is that the mattress we built this for works perfectly and looks awesome.
And that sets me up for a nap.
Nope, this is not for you to nap on, and it brings us to the bad news.
That is what?
This bed, while it looks awesome, doesn't look awesome in the living room, so it's got to move to my office.
Like that, now it's in an office.
Nope, like there's no gray in the office, so now we got to make a new mattress.
So a needle pulling thread.
Indeed. Sewing is what's going to happen next. We got to make a new mattress for this that will match the office. And he's pointing at me because I'm the sewer in this relationship. So I'm going to show you how to make a mattress with a removable, washable cover. And that's what we're going to do now. I put the foam in the bed and use a yardstick as a guide to draw the outermost line. However, you want to make sure and account for the thickness of the fabric and make sure the bed doesn't hang over the frame in the end. So I drew a couple more lines to give me a guide and then used a basic serrated little hand saw to cut through the foam. It's not the most ideal method, but it's the best I had. I used some shears to clean up the edges a little bit. This is going to be in the back, so who cares? It was good. Now, since I'm working with fleece, which is a really hard fabric to cut straight, I'm actually going to create templates out of project board. And this will allow me to use my rotary cutter and a basic guide rather than trying to measure each piece by hand. So I lay the template on top of the fabric, make sure everything's straight, and then get to cutting. Ultimately, you need 6 pieces, a top, a bottom, 2 short sides, and 2 long sides. Once I had those, I laid everything out and grabbed a piece of foam and then laid everything on top of that to ensure that the pattern was facing the way I wanted before I started pinning everything in place. Then I just started pinning the sides to the top of the fabric. 2 of the short sides and the front piece got pinned first. Once those were in place, I set that off to the side, grabbed the back piece and the bottom piece. This is where I'm adding the zipper. Now I am going to add the zipper on the seam rather than in the middle of the back panel because it's just easier. Lay the zipper face down on top of your fabric, pin it, and then run it through the sewing machine. Just remember to get the zipper pull out of the way as you're sewing. Once it was attached to the back piece, I pinned the back piece to the bottom and then did the same thing. Okay, once the zipper was all sewn in, I then pinned that side piece to the top of the fabric. So now the top piece has everything pinned to it, and I ran it through the sewing machine. You'll notice I didn't take care of any of the corners at this point. I'm just stitching the sides to the top. Once those were secured, I then pinned the bottom piece to all of the sides. And once that was pinned, ran it through the machine. I found it easiest to, once you sew the sides on this, then take care of the corners as you go. This fabric was just honestly a little stretchy and difficult to work with, so sewing in the corners kept everything in place as I kept moving around the cover. Then flip it right side out and stuff the foam inside. Made a few minor adjustments, and voila, custom dog mattress. It looks like it fits just right.
Now the ultimate test.
The Roadie test. We might have over-incentivized just a little bit to try to get him onto it first.
Did we mention that he really likes toys?
Yay!
And his bed.
He loves the bed. Totally.
Absolutely.
We hope you like this video as much as Roadie likes toys.
And if you do, then go ahead and click that subscribe button so we know. Click the like button so we know. Click the bell so that you know when we make more videos. And of course, check out our list of materials down below.
And if you're not watching us on our website, head over to justmydiy.com for other tips, tutorials, backstories, and more. Thanks for watching.